guys, it is April from Getting Huggo With It. Today I'm going to share with you the books that I bought in March. I'm thinking of changing my haul timing up a little bit so that it's in the middle of each month. Let me know if you don't mind that so much. I have some really good ones. Some of them I was sent from publishers. Some of them I picked up myself. So let's get into it. Before we can really start talking about the books, I need to address location change. I've moved my location ever so slightly to another bookshelf. This is like my contemporary shelf, and it is so much neater and nicer than the other one. I think I told you guys a while ago that I was planning on buying 2 more bookshelves for my little library room, and that will help to solve like the literally double stacking. I'm double stacked the shelves over there. It's too much. Eventually I'll be back there, but we bought something today. I'm sitting on it as we speak, and I freaking love this chair. This chair is from Pier 1, and it is the indigo blue floral Chaz armchair. And it's so cushiony, and I bought this specifically for my library. However, when the baby comes, it'll be going over into the nursery, so it'll be down on the floor again. But, you know, we have it now in the meantime, and then it'll come back over here. So like, this is permanently going to be my library chair, and for a hot second, it'll be in the baby's room. So I'm excited. Okay, now we can officially get into the haul. So these first 2 books that I want to talk to you about are both books that I went and got at a Value Village close by to me. I went yesterday and I found some really great books that I've been meaning to get for a long time. So the first up is This Must Be the Place by Maggie O'Farrell. I read I Am by Maggie O'Farrell and absolutely loved it. That is nonfiction, this is fiction, and I just love her writing style so much that I just have a feeling I'm gonna love basically anything she writes. This is about a reclusive former film star. She lives in Ireland now, and her name is Claudette Wells, and she's incredibly protective of her home. Like, she's perfectly fine with shooting at people if they're on her property. And we are kind of working through why she lives like that. Why is she so protective? And also, why did she leave Hollywood at the height of her fame? It sounds really neat. And then we also follow something about her husband, Daniel. But I'm more honestly interested in Claudette's storyline. So I'm so happy that I have another Maggie O'Farrell on my shelves now. Next is a Daphne du Maurier. I don't really need to say any more than that because Daphne du Maurier, I just want to read anything she writes. But it's Marianne. This book is not incredibly well known. I have heard that it's not as good as things like Rebecca, but I also feel like nothing can be as good as Rebecca. And this is inspired by the history of one of her ancestors named Marianne. So Marianne is very ambitious, and she wants to rise in the rankings. I think she comes from a lower class family, and she decides that she is going to become the mistress to a royal duke. And then there's all sorts of scandal, and apparently I guess Marianne is related to Daphne du Maurier, and this is, I think, Daphne du Maurier's like imagined idea of what Marianne's life was like, but it just sounds fascinating. And I saw this cover, like it's really quite beautiful edition of this one, so I grabbed that in a hurry. Now the next 3 are books that Book Outlet sent me. There will be more about that later, but they kindly sent me 3 books. I got to pick the 3 that I wanted. And right now it's middle grade March. I was on hold for Sweep at the library, and it is taking its sweet time. I think I'm now like number 22 in line. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get it by the time March is over. So I decided instead that I would choose to read When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit by Judith Kerr. This is Jen Campbell's, I think, one of her very, very favorite books of all time. And it's short. It's so tiny. It's like less than 200 pages. And it's middle grade, about a 9-year-old girl. It's 1933. And we follow this little girl in Germany. She has to essentially leave Germany because of Hitler. And she doesn't understand why, because, you know, her mother is saying it's not safe for the Jews, and she doesn't know why because she feels perfectly safe. And it follows her leaving Germany. And it sounds really sad and interesting, and I know it's going to be beautifully written because if Jen Campbell loves this, I mean, the writing's going to be top notch. So I'm going to read this for middle grade March. So I got that. I also got, this is a bit of a weird one. I got The Secrets She Keeps by Michael Robotham. The reason that this is weird is it's because of two women who are pregnant, and one of the women is stalking the other. And I feel like most people who are pregnant, which I am right now, most people wouldn't want to read scary books about pregnancy, and I'm like, sign me up! Like, I'm weird. I am just an odd person, but I've heard that this is like a fun little thriller to, you know, flip the pages through, and yeah, I'm kind of eager to see how that will go down between two pregnant women. I am eager. So I'm hoping to read this, obviously, while I'm still pregnant. I don't think it would be nearly as fun if I wasn't pregnant. Again, I'm off. Then the last one I got from Book Outlet is actually something I've had in my cart for ages. I read one John Ronson before, and I think it was called So You've Been Publicly Shamed or something like that. And this is the Psychopath Test. I think this was the first book that really put John Ronson on the map, and it literally looks at psychopaths. He sits down with a psychologist who teaches Ronson how to spot a psychopath, and he's not saying like, oh, you know, it's only people who are serial killers or something who are psychopaths. He's saying, you know, businessmen and politicians. There are plenty of people who are psychopaths, and it teaches John Ronson how to actually spot them out. So I think we like deep dive into normal people who also happen to be psychopaths. So I guess they're not normal. They're just not insanely dangerous. I'm excited for this. I love his writing. He is like witty and really explores topics that I would never have thought to explore. I just really admire him as a writer. So I'm so happy to have this on my shelves now. And then Simon & Schuster Canada sent me two thrillers unsolicited. One of them is called House on Fire. And this is about two people who fall in love. They are previously divorced. They're bringing their families together. And one night, I think his son kills her daughter by accident. And it's like a car crash or something. And our main character, Lee, is trying to... She's trying to kind of sort through all of those feelings and still try to have a relationship with this boy that, you know, she's cared for very, very dearly, even though he, you know, killed her daughter by accident, until that boy comes forward and says, actually, she was driving. He was apparently driving, now he's saying that she was driving, and so she starts to have all sorts of suspicions in her mind. So that sounds like a kind of fun domestic thriller. The next one is The Homecoming by Andrew Piper. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Andrew Piper wrote like more horror than thriller, but this sounds more like a thriller. This is about a family who discovered that their dad has died, but he's died far away. I think he's living in the Pacific Northwest on a rainforest property. And they have to go there to read his will. They get there, the will says, I'm going to give you everything, but only under the condition that you stay in this spot for 30 days. And I don't think those 30 days are pleasant. I think a lot of stuff goes down, and there's a lot of like family secrets and stuff that bubble up. So it does sound quite interesting. So that one's The Homecoming. The next two are books that I found at a library book sale and love those. The first is Elmet. This was a really big book in 2017. It was a Man Booker Prize finalist, and this is a naked hardback that I have to say is stunning. It's about a very small family who live kind of off of the grid. Their father builds things with his hands, he hunts for food, and they live in Elmet, this little area. And so we're following a brother and a sister, Kathy and Daniel. And even their childhood, like they didn't go to school a lot. They roamed the woods freely, occasionally visiting a local woman for some schooling, but really didn't live the average life. And then something catastrophic happens in their lives. It really puts the family at risk, I think, and it threatens the way that they're living their lives. I think it says something like a landowner shows up on their doorstep, so maybe she's trying to kick them out or what. So it does sound interesting. I was really happy that I found this. And this one, it's going to be so good for the summer, I think, is The Favorite Sister by Jessica Knowles. She wrote Luckiest Girl Alive, which I read and enjoyed. I think I ended up giving that one 3 stars. I felt a bit mixed about it, but this is about 2 sisters who are on a reality TV show which goes terribly wrong. Like, I think someone dies, something along those lines, and it's like it really is something like the Housewives of the Real Housewives, or of like insert city here. I watched The Bachelor like a lot, and The Bachelor is over now, and so I need something in between now and Bachelor in Paradise. So I think I might read this at some point to just give me that, just that little guilty pleasure. So those are all of the books that I bought in March. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite book that you got in March was. What book were you super excited to get? And I will talk with you guys soon. Okay, bye!